Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you here. It's such a treat to see so many familiar faces, so many new faces. Wow, just magical. All right, so at this point, I think we're going to start off pretty soon because we've got only 1 hour, a jam-packed agenda, and I really want to leave some time for discussions today. So I just want to briefly introduce myself. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jess. I am one of the co-founders of Learn Biomimicry. I'm the lead author on our courses and just generally totally and utterly nature nerd. So with that being said, something that's really been piquing my curiosity for the last while, and apparently 200 viewers as well, is the AI space. And it is just one of the most fascinating spaces that are so full of potential, full of all sorts of things. And I have to be honest, wow, it was tricky whittling this down to a 20-minute presentation. There's so much. But with that being said, I am going to jump in here and take you through what's been kind of top of mind and what to expect. All right, so it seems like most of you have kind of got the hang of the little emoji functions there. If you're ready to go, give me a thumbs up. Hit that button. Excellent. Great. Cool. So, welcome. So the format of today, in this little time that we have together, we're going to do a short presentation. We're going to jump into some breakout rooms. We're going to come back for a short discussion and then close out, and that's it. Alrighty, so setting some expectations of what I will be covering in this talk is a very, very, very brief idea of what is AI, AI's role in biomimicry, some relevant AI tools that we love, some challenges of using AI, and then also some tips on how you can actually get started with this today. What I won't be covering in this talk today, all the good bits, all the juicy bits, right? So some technical definitions and specs, some things around the models and algorithms, artificial general intelligence or AGI, ethics training and data sets, and fake science content. But more detail on this will follow in our blog series. Alrighty, so with all of that being said, let's keep going. Why are we actually here? Well, first of all, because you're curious, and that's a good sign that you're alive and ready to learn. And also, more generally, because we have a new item in our portfolio of human tools. This is how I like to think of AI. So we went through fire and metals and electricity and nuclear power and internet. And when you put all those together, you get AI. I'm kidding, but they definitely played a significant role. And this is really, I think, the most important thing that we should be asking at this point is, what will we do with this new tool that we have? So before we really start, I want to mention a few brief overviews. So AI, as you almost certainly know, is an abbreviation for artificial intelligence. And there are many, many ways to define this. Trust me, I went down some rabbit holes. And the simplest way I could actually really define it in human language is basically using computers to do the thinking that we either can't or don't want to do. Another important point is that these digital thinking tools have different strengths and weaknesses, just like us. So there are ones that understand language and chatting really well, ones that crunch and synthesize data really well, ones that generate visuals really well, ones that do research, etc., etc. And the last point that I really want to bring up right at the front is that currently there is pretty limited usage of these, but incredible amounts of potential. And right now, most people only use these incredibly powerful models for pretty basic tasks, but they can actually do so much more, especially when they're used well. So, why is AI important for biomimicry? And now this is just beyond just image generation, right? What I believe is that biomimicry as a technical practice still has two pretty fundamental large gaps. There's the science to innovation research gap. And what I mean by this is that scientific research is largely still locked kind of in the ivory tower of academia. And then also the bio-inspired innovation is kind of held back from its true potential by this limited access and limited understanding of science. On the other end of this process, we've kind of got the innovation to market gap, also known as the innovation valley of death, which is very dramatic, but very easy to visualize. And this is really what happens when innovations can't make it to market successfully and they can't stay in market successfully. And this is generally because current business economics demand economies of scale, R&D time is really lengthy, and investors also just have, only so much runway. So answering that first challenge of the science and innovation research gap from a technical point of view, I believe that, nature's deep intelligence, these are the principles and recipes that ultimately enable us to create life-friendly, resilient, regenerative designs. These have actually remained largely elusive from a practical technical implementation point of view until now. And AI really allows us to unlock, cross-disciplinary potential. So this is being able to share insights and questions that have actually been locked up in these different silos for so long, both from a push and from a pull perspective. That translation is incredible. It helps us to unlock the chemistry, the deep, life-friendly chemistry, these exquisite materials and processes that we've never been able to actually technically decode and replicate before. We knew it was there. We know about spider silk. We know about photosynthesis, but we've never really been able to get so close to it until now. And so really, so these incredible tools that allow us to do molecular biology and protein synthesis and stuff and data and decoding, we're really getting a whole lot closer to this incredible potential. It helps us to unlock the physics side of things through incredible models that are out there that allow us to kind of really crunch big data. And so, in nature, we have these highly optimized dynamic material systems that are not only just a one material, but they fit form to function over time and they can change. And so being able to use these incredibly powerful models to tap into understanding this and modeling it, we can really, really start to design like that. And of course, we've got complexity, right? Nature is complex. And so we've got this complexity-based intelligence. And this is relationships that exist across multiple dimensions, across time, across space, scale, materials, and species, etc. And so it really, this ability to kind of think on this incredibly high dimensional space allows us to start thinking about how we might design like this over time. So that's on the kind of science access end of things. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got the innovation and the valley of death, the to market gap. And again, from a technical point of view, biomimetic technologies have been pretty hard to bring to market until now because of the R&D limitations, mass production challenges, and then also the challenges of the sales-facing communications causing a loss of traction. And so again, AI really allows us to unlock this extensive research, so research that's very, very necessary. Would have usually taken potentially years, that now can take months, weeks, even days, which is phenomenal. Modeling and testing, so multiple versions of almost any product can be designed, tested, and improved before it's even built for the first time. Optimized production, so production methods can also be improved through the use of large data sets and real-time feedback, so really kind of improving that production process. And then lastly, of course, how does it get to the real world? How does it get to all of its customers? Well, a lot of marketing and sales. And typically, this is not a skill set that's within most labs. But, luckily, we've got a whole lot of AI that can actually help us with something that gets us a working prototype out there and really helps with the commercialization aspect of this. Okay, moving on. So here are some biomimicry-related AI tools that we at Learn Biomimicry and our learners are currently using, learning, and loving. So first up, I wanted to discuss some very specifically biomimicry-based ones. And bonjour Elliot, here's Asteria. So Asteria is one of the all-in-one kind of platforms, so end-to-end from research through to ideation, and helping to get to market. And so what we really love about this is that Asteria works really, really hard to help designs cross that valley of death and actually get into production. It has amazing sustainability metrics that are fully integrated into the design process, and that their biological strategies are drawn from a wide variety of scientific papers as well, which is amazing. So they've got an incredible platform. They're working on getting this live as well. Watch this space. Alrighty, another one that I really want to give an incredible shout out to is Nulica, another end-to-end all-in-one platform that we've been using as well with our learners. And what we love about this is that it's got an incredible variety of tools, including system mapping. It's got really interesting detailed parameter prompts as you come into this, helping you to ask better questions. And it's also got an amazing integration with various computational design modeling tools, like Rhino, Grasshopper, and all the rest. And they've been kind enough to also include great learning resources so that you don't actually have to leave the platform to understand how to use the things. So really just a shout out to the Nulica team for creating this beautiful, beautiful and all-in-one platform as well. And then, of course, I have to definitely mention our friends over at Ask Nature have been working so hard on creating their own ChatGPT interface. So you can see the link over there. And what we love about this is that it's been trained on 20 years of Ask Nature activity. If you know biomimicry, you know Ask Nature. It's just really been like probably one of the biggest strongholds of biomimicry education since inception. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal platform. And they've just launched Ask Nature Chat. Also, what this platform does really well, because it's using ChatGPT, is that it handles obscure or metaphorical questions really well. I definitely put it through its paces when I was testing it the other day, and I was really impressed by how it handled a lot of these kind of more abstracted concepts and came up with some really tangible things. So kudos to the team for that. And also what I like about it is that it provides input from diverse sources, not just the Ask Nature database or journal articles. So it really manages to get a lot of diverse voices into the room, which is something that Ask Nature works really hard at. Cool. So those are the three major biomimicry-based tools that we really, really love. And then here are just one or two other biomimicry adjacents. The Materium website is also a chat-based interface. And what we love about it is that it's designed specifically for bio-based materials and helping people to get started on actually creating their own. They have an amazing database and like recipe books and all sorts. And this is really kind of getting into the molecular side of it. And also this integrates really well with their database and the community. And I also just really wanted to mention this amazing resource that I found by Raphael Kim. And it's his platform called Biodesign Academy. As far as I can tell, because I don't have a paid account, but it's really like a resource library. And what I loved about it was going down all the rabbit holes of the research that he's provided, which really focuses on enabling biodesign by providing meaningful education. He's dived so deep into understanding what a lot of the blockers are from an educational standpoint, from an academic standpoint, from an implementation standpoint. And he's provided a lot of tools around that, amazing links, explanations, tools that go into a lot of technical depth. So another really nice thing, especially if you're kind of in that molecular design space. Great. So those are some of the tools that we are really enjoying. We could go on, but we've got a short time. And I really want to dive into what are the costs of using AI in biomimicry. I'm going to divide it into two categories. So we've got visible costs and sort of hidden costs. So the visible ones are absolutely first and foremost the environmental impact of it. So this is very well documented, somewhat controversial, but definitely unignorable. The huge amount of freshwater usage that comes from actually allowing these servers to be cool enough to run. is outrageous. They have very high energy usage, the land usage, of course, and then very, very high material wastage. E-waste is a thing. So yeah, there's a lot of controversy around this, which is why I personally feel like we need to be using this responsibly. Cat pictures are great, but the internet's already full of cat pictures, so maybe we'll use it for the right stuff. And yeah, so there's just, I think it's important to note this, but not as a guilt trip kind of thing. I think it's really important to highlight that it's an amazing opportunity as well for problem solving, for innovation. If we can step in here as biomimics, as engineers, we can really help to actually solve these problems from the inside out. And that's whether that's kind of different models of computing, whether it's different models of cooling, there's so much to be done here. The other part of this that isn't really spoken about too much, especially in the kind of innovation space, is critical thinking. Now, this is something that I personally feel so passionate about, and it's something that we really, really try very hard to work on in our programs, is that ChatGPT, any of these models, if you've ever tried to buy a secondhand car, you'll know what it's like to have somebody tell you something that sounds really convincing, but you're not entirely sure if it's right. And it's really, really important that we don't let go of our ability to ask good questions and really, really think about the information that we're getting and how we're using it. So firstly, the answers are only as good as the questions that you ask. So the answers that any AI model is going to give you is only as good as the questions that you're asking it. Most of them are statistical models, which means that it's going to tell you what it thinks you want to hear, based on what you've asked it and the data that it has access to. AI makes mistakes, right? And it can be really hard to spot them because it's been trained to be so incredibly articulate. And this is where a lack of domain knowledge reinforces a lot of assumptions and biases and increases a lot of time needed for fact-checking. And vague questions asked in queries and prompts lead to very, very ineffectual answers and a lot of wasted resources, time, energy, our energy, etc. So using these tools effectively still requires you to actually have a good understanding of the challenge space, or be willing to have a good understanding of it. This is why for us in our practitioner program, especially in the scoping phase, we really try to integrate critical thinking or the development of it. And so in this phase, we work really hard to identify and work past some assumptions. We like to try and build confidence by engaging with domain experts in the actual challenge space, real life humans. We try to mitigate irrelevant variables by distilling the challenge really well to function in context. And to also set upfront parameters for what success looks like. Okay, everybody still with me? Let's jump into 5 tips and tricks for using AI tools, both effectively and efficiently. So, tip number 1, and this is kind of like, I don't know if there are any 90s, 80s, 90s kids out there as well, but there's like in the Matrix, and they went to speak to the Oracle, and she'd give you an answer, but it kind of depended on the question that you asked. And I mean, this is very Matrix, right? We've got agents, we've got all sorts of things going on here. I think we need a rerun of this. But the most important point, I think, is to figure out what you need to know and what decisions you need to make in this process. And when you can do this, you can use these insights to create great queries. And a really useful tool for navigating a lot of this uncertainty. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's called the Rumsfeld matrix, or also the known and unknown matrix. And it's a really amazing framework for managing uncertainty and deciding where to focus your efforts and implementation. And it basically looks at awareness or an understanding of a challenge space. So we tend to think that we operate predominantly in the known space. Yeah, I know a lot, I understand a lot, this is fine. then things tend to kind of sneak up on us every now and then. And then what happens when we're not domain experts is that there are a lot of unknown unknowns, and those can kind of really trip us up. So I'd highly recommend looking up this matrix and how to get a lot of great usage out of it. Tip number 2 is ask the model itself for advice on how to get the best results from it, both in terms of exploring the problem and in how to write effective prompts or queries. And this is particularly pertaining to the kind of ChatGPT-based models. They're very conversationally proficient, and it really helps to actually ask advice on how to ask for advice. Tip number 3, ask your AI chat model to practice what's known as critical reflexivity, which is basically reflecting critically on what it's put forward to figure out how it might be improved. Or perhaps more simply, you could even ask it to do some kind of role play. So if you're an architecture professional working on an architecture problem, you could say, well, dear model, imagine that you're a professional architect and please critique my questions and highlight key information that I'm missing. This just gives you a more kind of highly dimensionalized view of your challenge, and highlights maybe those known unknowns or considerations that you perhaps hadn't really integrated. Number 4, use multiple tools or AI models and let them do their best work too. So for example, you could use ChatGPT to assist you with sort of thought wrangling, and then use other models for more specific technical requests. They all, as mentioned in the beginning, kind of have their own strengths and weaknesses, and it can be incredibly effective to really use them in this kind of combination. And lastly, it seems obvious, but it's worth pointing out, remember that you, as a human, live in the real physical world, and you can explore the problem in its actual context. All right, these AI tools, these AI models only know about the data that they're given and that you give it, but you can actually go there and see. The model is not going to do the implementation for you. That's going to be you. So engaging with the real lived world is actually so critical. A quiet side note in all of this is that while we appreciate that AI tools allow us to move so fast, we also believe, at Learn Biomimicry at least, in moving slowly. In our programs, we deliberately take the time to think more deeply, to develop more skills, to create a better internal and external connections, and to allow time for real exploring and to really learn by doing. Sometimes it is about the journey and not the destination. And so I think that it's really important to sometimes to actually just slow down and be present in what you're doing. So that brings me to closing thoughts. I also think that it's sometimes really nice to consider the phrase AI not as artificial intelligence, but rather augmented intelligence, and give ourselves some agency in this whole process. For better or for worse, we are human. And that means that we have our imaginations and our personalities, our curiosity and our connectedness, our perpetual dissatisfaction, and our desire to have an impact. And I think it's just really important to, in this AI space and in this digital world, to really embrace your humanness. AI models aren't going to redesign the world themselves, this year at least. Watch the space. So right now, this is your chance. This is our chance to do your best work. And the beauty of biomimicry is in shaking up the status quo. It's in imagining and designing and building a world where all of life can thrive. So ultimately, keep going. Here are 5 easy actions that you can take to further your biomimicry and AI journey. Join our practitioner program. We have a cohort starting in September. Applications are about to close, so let us know. And it would be great to see you there. Also, you can sign up for our newsletter for more information. We've got a couple of tricks up our sleeve, so we can't wait to share those with you. go ahead and try out the tools that we've mentioned. Let us know what you think. We'd love to know what else you're exploring. Do keep an eye out for our upcoming blogs where we delve into more of this in detail. And please share your experience with us. We want to know. This is such an exciting space. Keep calm and query on. Yes, yes, it is Learn Biomimicry. There will always be puns. Thank you so much. Really, really been such a treat being able to share this with you at long last. And we are going to jump into some breakout rooms for 10 minutes, and then we will come back to the main room for some brief discussions. So I'm going to drop a question into the chat, and this is what we'll be discussing in the breakout rooms. So the question that I'd love to ask you today is, how have you used AI in your work, if you have, and how might you use it going forward? And thank you to everybody for your kind comments. I appreciate that. Alrighty. And then when Alistair's ready, then he'll open up the breakout rooms. Thank you. See you back here in 10.
Hey everybody, if you haven't yet been assigned a breakout room, just raise your hand. If you have been assigned a breakout room, just click it, join this room on your screen as you should see it. The question for the group who you're going to be connecting with is, how are you currently using AI in your work and how might you use it going forward? So there we go. Just raise your hand. Okay, thanks, Boris. Make sure you get to a room now. If you haven't yet been assigned a breakout room and wish to join, just raise your hand and I'll make sure you get into one shortly. Okay, sure. We'll send you over.
Thank you. I was in an empty breakout room.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thanks. Okay.
The same here. I went to breakout 21 and I was the only one there.
All right.
So we
It
can
looks
go
like
together.
those. Yeah. I think what we can do is just use this room for our breakout room while we wait. Or as a temporary breakout room.
All right.
So I guess the question is to both you, Karen, and how do I pronounce your name? Is it Donnie?
Donné.
Donne? So how are you currently using AI, and how do you think it's going to change? And yeah, what are your thoughts around the space?
Well, I haven't used it for biomimicry work yet, so this was very inspiring to hear and to have all these websites where you can find all these tools. That's probably how I would use it in the future if you want to find a specific material. And it probably makes it easy also on Ask Nature to find what you want to find and to have help with the AI. How are you using it now?
Hey, Roger. Welcome. Hey, Karen. So I think I use it quite often more in the marketing side of things, just to keep sort of as a memory bank of like a reminder of past calls or conversations. I have been playing around with it specifically with some biomimicry tools, and I guess what really excites me is that this is kind of the microscope moment is what I feel, I've been really worried that AI is just hype, and um it doesn't hold. It's kind of like the pets.com, or it's only 20 years down the line. But one thing that sort of started to change my mind is the application of AI in education. There's one of the most important sort of research papers is called Bloom to Sigma. And in it, Bloom, the author sort of mentions that having a mentor gives you 2 standard deviations better education. So what that means is you end up in the 98th percentile education-wise when you have a mentor or a tutor. And we know this, like tutors work. But in schools, we can't obviously all have an individual tutor. And now there's an AI school called Alpha School, based out of the States, in which it's got students who are all now in the 98 and 99 percentile, which correlates very well with Bloom. And I guess I'm quite biased because I think it's such a seminal paper. But that's really piqued my interest, and I think I'm really excited to see AI applied to education and and AI applied to biology, because I think it's a great unlock, especially for those who are interested in biology, who love biology, but who might not necessarily have studied it for sort of 3 to 6 years.
Interesting, very interesting.
And yourself, Karen, I'm so curious to hear, by way of introduction, Karen is a biomimicry enthusiast, biomimicry professional, incredible educator as well. And she's also part of the biomimicry practitioner program, mentors.
Hi, thank you for that, Allie. I use biomimicry like a super tool, a way to collate and synthesize information that I would take gobs of time to do or wouldn't know where to look. And I use it to check that, have I thought of everything that I should be thinking of? And I don't really use it so much in a way of trying to create, responses or develop a thought process, because I feel that's not a creative way of using my brain. It's really like a supercharged resource, a collator of information that can help me move along my journey of innovation much faster. There are incredible tools out there, as Jess pointed out, and Asteria, New Luca, Ask Nature. Those are essential if you are practicing biomimicry. tap into that. And it's the community of the people behind it as well that it brings you connected to when you use that. And you can tap into those the founders of these organizations and the authors of these tools, the creators of these tools, and in my opinion, give you as much of a wealth of information and creative spark as the tool itself.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing, Karen. Devin, I'm so curious to hear where you're at and sort of what do you see the future of AI? Are you using it today, and how do you see it applied in the world of biomimicry
Sure.
as a biomimicry practitioner?
Hi, Ali. Thank you so much. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be called upon. Where I am at, actually, I was just about to type a message in the chat. I was on a massively interesting call with Jose Gonzalez. There's somebody here, Gonzalez, anyway, from Argentina, and then the call dropped, and we didn't get to finish. And I've just jumped back on, and I'm so sorry. Is what I wanted to say to him. And I want to hear more. But anyway, in terms of biomimicry, it's and AI, it's really interesting. I have been using AI myself a little bit for personal for a lot of personal healing, in a way, which is funny. It's really helped me in a major way, and I haven't really thought about how to apply it with biomimetic lens on, but the fact that it helped my personal biology and psychology is an interesting thing. I suppose that's the most I could say at the moment.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of scope and change into, just a world of different applications, but that's really interesting to hear. I'm sorry to hear that you didn't connect with the Argentinian individual.
Gonzalo.
Yes,
Gonzalo.
here.
He's here.
Yeah.
Gonzalo is an absolute legend.
Yeah, I dropped off the call. I'm sorry, Gonzalo. He was about to tell me about an amazing company that he's busy in the formation of starting. Maybe this is the platform, just to say it.
Yeah. No worries. Murphy's Law. So, Devon, thank you so much for your time. It was great just to start discussing with you. So I'm curious to know what you're doing in your space. So.
Yes.
Alrighty, guys.
Go ahead, Addy.
Just a note, we're gonna just start calling in the breakout rooms back and get enter into a full group discussion. Let's see how this goes. Alrighty. Welcome back, everybody. We're just waiting for a few more to trickle in, get settled as we enter into the main room discussion. I hope you guys had some amazing conversations, new connections, and the breakout rooms were useful. Lovely to see.
Amazing. Ali, thank you so much for teleporting us through time and space. That's always an amazing experience. And to everybody, as Ali said, just welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. We've got about 20 minutes left. And so for the next 10 minutes, ending at 10 on the hour or of the hour, I would love to invite you to raise your hand, share some of your thoughts, share some of your experiences. What came up for you during the presentation? What came up for you during the breakout rooms? So please feel free just to use the little hand raise icon if you'd love to jump in.
Let's see.
Hi, I've got Manoj and I think Sally.
Yes.
Great. Sally, you want to jump in and then we'll go over to Manoj afterwards.
Can you hear me?
Got it.
Okay, great. So I know you've heard this before, but I'm one of these that is a little intimidated by this group because I don't have a biology degree, chemistry degree. You know, I'm a people person, HR type. And I'm so inspired by the fact that every time I jump on a webinar or read something about biomimicry, you're all very centered on that one question, and that is, how can nature help us? So I'm interested in taking biomimicry into the senior living space. And as I was discussing with my partner here, the breakout room, how we can help elders feel relevant in the ecosystem. And so, you know, I often think, well, I just need to do my little private study on this because I really don't know biology and science. But every time I get on, I'm so inspired by each and every one of you helping the greater population ask these questions. So I'm inspired and I really appreciate your presentation today.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Sally. It really, as the saying goes, biomimicry is a team sport.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
You know, we need the scientists and the biologists, but also we need everybody else. So kudos to you for your amazing work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Manoj, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Lovely to see you all. I was really looking at the valley of death, which you are saying, because I think that is where I think we have this gap. I work for a paint company, right? So we are one of the bad boys when it comes to the pollution and, you know, putting in all the chemicals in, but that's the job I do, right? To protect the assets from corrosion and fire, the steel. Correct. So, and one of the things that I'm trying to develop is a framework that paint companies can do to utilize bio-inspired innovation in every step of the way, right? We talk about circularity, we talk about cradle to grade, gate, cradle to cradle, and things like that. So, but one of the things we keep talking about is we've heard of, you know, paints like the Lotus and, right, water repellent coatings. But we don't see them in the market, right? So I'm very, very interested in, growing up as a child, right? I'm already 52, right? People said, oh, you know, spider's web, it's stronger than steel. Hey, I don't see, I'm still, you know, selling paints for steel, right? So when is that happening, right? We keep talking about this. When is that happening? I think that would be super, super critical. I think people are moving towards that now, where they're ready to get these products which are going to be there, the new generation. I think you guys are really into it, and I think we need to probably spend a lot more time on that, getting it into the market. I think that is probably, we do a lot of discussion on what is environmentally friendly, and we do a lot of things, but I think we need to get to that step, and that's what I'm trying to see if I can bridge with this. Hopefully I will, you know, reconnect with all of you at another opportunity. But yeah, that's I think is a missing link, I felt.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Manoj. And you know what? I mean, you say one of the bad guys, but that just makes you a domain expert. That makes any innovation that you do so much more relevant. And it really, you know, there is such an interesting dynamic in this space with innovation, that anything new that comes to the market has to have the kind of socioeconomic backing. And I think that's what we're also starting to see now, is these kind of political and economic pressures that are really allowing a lot of this more life-friendly kind of innovation to emerge and to stay in this space. So it's very, very exciting. Thank you for sharing. So we've got 2 more hands up. We've got Jihad and we've got Charles. Jihad, over to you, and then Charles Patrick. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, Jessica. Hi. I'm suggest something. Why you not make or doing WhatsApp group? Okay. To share our information about biomimicry with us. Yani we can share our information and experience. Link is a lot of that. So please make WhatsApp group and send it in chat to join this.
Great, thank you for the suggestion. We'll definitely let you know when we make our way onto WhatsApp for all of this. It's a very valuable space to be able to connect in real time. Yeah, keep your eye on our newsletters. We'll let you know. Thank you. Charles Patrick.
So I was listening to Sally and Manoj and in the breakout room, and I'm hearing a lot of people that are curious about biomimicry and how to actually apply it. I'm currently in the middle of the educator's course, and it started off for me where I took a video just like you guys. I was where you are, and I said, well, how can I move in the direction of learning more about biomimicry? So I just took my feet and I put it in the water, and I bought a short course. They have biomimicry short courses available, and it's very affordable, and you can learn a little bit more and see specifically where it can apply. You know, life sometimes is a game of inches, right? Success and failure can be a matter of inches, but the journey of 1,000 miles starts from beneath your feet. So just take that first step, look at the short course, see how it might apply to you, and then pick one and start. And then you say, who's gonna do it? When is it gonna be done? You might be the one who does it, and this is your opportunity.
Thank you so much, Charles. Wow, really, really appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing that. That's really, really kind. And yeah, it's true, you know. It is so much about one foot in front of the other. And our dear late mentor and friend Claire always said that, you know, biomimicry is a practice. The more you do it, the better you get. And it's kind of like a language, you know, the more you speak it, the more you understand it. And it's just really this ongoing process. We all are in the space. And I think that's what I love so much about biomimicry, what I love about this community, is that we really do just all learn from each other. Ali.
Yes, I'm curious to ask you on your views around personalized learning and how important is personalized learning and how important is mentorship and sort of having a tutor in the case of learning. Why is it sort of involved in the biomimicry practitioner program, and how does AI play into all of this?
That's not a one question. I was counting, you're at least 4 there. Gosh, but they're good questions. I think, you know, even if we took away AI, if we took away everything that we do now, I think through just the kinds of schooling that we've seen in the world that exists, you'll generally find in your more kind of high-performing schools where kids do really well and everything else, there's typically smaller classes, they have more tutors, they have more extracurriculars, they have access to more resources. You know, all of this stuff is what really helps you to kind of build on your own curiosity, build on your own talents, really kind of hone these things. And I think typically what you'll find in more lower income areas is that your classrooms are crowded, that the baseline is like pretty low for what you're going to do. the content is super generic. The amount of time that you get with any teacher and mentor is so minimal. And so I think that just from real world lived experience, we can see the value of individualized learning and of mentorship. And I think that AI is a phenomenal tool in this regard, because it gives us this ability to kind of pull on these threads and to really leverage our own strengths, I think. And obviously mentorship as well. I guess we kind of believe in that, right? With our programs, but it's so true, because that means that, you know, in learning theories, we look at, you know, what you know, what we want you to know, and what it takes to get there. And I think that's really where that mentorship space lies, in having somebody who knows a bit more than you, can see where you need to go and can see where you are, and to help you actually get there. And if they're a good mentor, if they're a good educator, they can see the kinds of steps exactly that you need in order to do this. And I think the same can be said for not just education per se, but, you know, business incubation, any kind of development, you know, any mentor in any space that's a good one will be able to help you to move from where you are to where you want to be. And so, yeah, I think it's incredibly important, and there's a lot of potential in that space. So that's my other really short presentation. Thanks for sparking that. We're coming up to the end of our time and our hour together. And okay, one last question, because just such an amazing group. Japan? Hey.
Yes, I was wondering if there's, or do you know, like, work that has been done through biomimicry, if the use of AI within biomimicry frameworks will decrease or increase all this, like, movement of eco-anxiety issues? Like, there's been reported already that given a lot of information to students around, like, environmental problems or climate change crisis, has actually developed, like, this eco-anxiety issues, where they are doing, like, the opposite of what we're looking for. I don't know if you have some insights on whether AI would help to decrease these eco-anxiety issues, or you would, like, go on to increase this type of issues.
Great question. Absolutely, eco-anxiety is very real. We've, you know, through our educator program, we're in touch with a lot of educators, and I can say that it's global. In many languages, in many parts of the world, eco-anxiety is real, and I don't really know what anybody expected. Otherwise, just like, hey, here's a bunch of bad news. And so it really is absolutely crushing, and it disables a lot of people. I think what biomimicry offers is this kind of more hopeful framework, and being able to say, like, yes, there is this, we have created these problems as a species, but hang on a second, it's not all doom and gloom. We don't need to necessarily roll back to some completely atavistic lifestyle and give up everything that we've worked for, or that we've created, but in fact, we can just design it better. Not just design it better, but we can design it better. It will take some significant shifts, but it is possible. And again, because biomimicry is this incredibly sort of multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary, interconnected kind of practice and design methodology, I think it allows a lot of people to come to this space. You know, typically they're like, oh, scientists report on da 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 da, and you're like, oh, the person in the white lab coat, like, who, you know, who are they? And like, you know, most people are quite excluded from the world of sort of science and climate change and all of these things. Whereas when you come into something like biomimicry space, you're going like, wow, me, you know, the guy who designs the paint, the person who designs the building, the person who works with the community, like, actually, I have some agency in this, you know, and I think that there's a lot of hope and a lot of enabling that happens in that space. And I think that that's really, really important. And with respect to AI being in there, as per, you know, the beginning of the presentation, I personally see AI as a tool. So, you know, much like fire, nuclear power, electricity, the internet, it can be used for good, it can be used for bad. But, you know, I think that the best thing that we can do at this point is go like, how could we help it to be an incredible mentor, and an incredible guide, and an incredible enabler for us to, do this kind of amazing work that we need to do.
Just
Amazing. Jacqueline will answer your other questions, I think, via email, because I do want to be respectful for everybody's time. Anita is going to drop a list of links into the chat of the various platforms that we mentioned today. And, please do give them a try. Let us know what else you're trying. Stay in touch. And yeah, it's just been such a pleasure to see you all here. A reminder that, as Charles so kindly mentioned, there are biomimicry short courses that you can jump into. We've got our practitioner program coming up soon. We've got the educator program starting again in January. Hop over to our website to apply. And just in general, an enormous thank you to all of you for showing up and sharing. This is what makes it. This is what makes biomimicry so special, and this is why it's really exciting to keep working with you, to keep evolving in this space. We've been here for about 6 years, and we're continuously evolving, and do keep an eye out for some interesting collaborations coming up from our side. Amazing. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining.
thank you. Have a great day.
Great to connect with some
Thank
familiar
you.
faces and some new
Bye
ones.
bye. Thank you very
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Cheers, Evelyn. Cheers, Thomas. Good to
Bye-bye.
see you.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, hello.